Welcome to this session where I'm going to look at how we define a successful project. Right. And there are two aspects to that. The first one is looking at what we define as a successful project. And quite often when you ask people this question, they usually come up with the answer, well, I've delivered on time, usually a very good idea. This is obviously quite a key element of delivering a successful project. You miss the deadline, the project could be completely out of whack and really negates the whole purpose of the project. And the other one is budget, right? So in other words, what we really mean is we deliver it to cost or we deliver it under budget. Well, that's also very crucial from a point of view of business and return on our investment. But is that really the main definition of a project? After all, what are we actually running a project for, right? The project is about delivering a change, right, of some sort. Change. And that change needs to have a benefit attached to it, right? So really, it needs to be a beneficial change. And that is the key element, really. Did we deliver the benefit that we expected the project to build for us? That's what we wanted to run the project for. So the prime consideration is, have we delivered the beneficial change that we anticipated at the beginning, or whatever may have changed that decision and that particular understanding as you go through the project. And this is part of uncertainty and how scope can change. And we'll look at scope in a separate session and how we get there. So it's all about delivering a beneficial change. Linked to that, of course, is the return on the investment. Return on investment. And business are very keen to understand what that is, of course, because after all, they're paying for the project. They want to know, how do I get my money back? Is it worthwhile spending the money throughout the project? Right. And that's the next question that leads from this. How do we define a successfully run project? So a project that is run successfully. Because it's all well getting to the end of the project and saying, yeah, I've delivered it. We've delivered the benefits and everything, right? But someone's got to make a decision. As you go through the project, is that actually going to work for us? Are we still wanting to pay for it? There are three key words that come out of this. One is desirable. Do we still want it? Is it still needed? Viable. Will it still be able to build? Can we still, functionally build it? And the third one is achievable. Will it do what I want it to do? In other words, deliver my benefit and be worthwhile spending the money on it. And part of that's linked to the desirability as well. So these are three key things that need to go on throughout the project. And this is linked to something called governance, right? Governance. So how do we define, therefore, a project that's been run successfully? Governance is about making what? It's about making an informed decision. An informed decision. Decision. So that they can understand that when they're deciding about how the project is, how's the solution being built? Does it look like it's working? How does that still fit into our strategic view of things within the organization? Is it still likely to deliver the beneficial change we expect of it? This is all very important, right? So they need to be able to make an informed decision. And for them to do that, that means the project manager or the program manager must provide them with the information to do that through things like reports, life cycle, right? How the project is running, and other mechanisms within it, and getting the business involved in the project. And these are all about making go, no-go decisions, right? So having specific points through the life cycle, take a thing a step at a time. And we'll look at this in a different session as well. About how the whole project is about taking a step at a time, build the detail as you go through. And this helps build an understanding and get the business involved in the project throughout. Not just, here's the business case, yeah, here's the money, that's what we expect, we'll see you in 6 months or 4 years' time. This doesn't really work, As someone once coined, anything can happen in the next half hour, and it does. Business change their minds, there's a change of direction, suddenly there's a buyout, and it doesn't fit into the strategic direction of the organization. Sometimes they just want to take the money onto another more extremely important program or project that's suddenly come out of the decision team at the corporate level. So all these things impact on how the project is running, and therefore decisions about whether that project is still wanted. As I said, is it still desirable? Right? Desirable, achievable, and viable. Achievable and viable. And it's the business that need to make that decision. So this is down to the business or corporate level to make that decision, the business. Because at the end of the day, all projects are business projects. They're paying for it. They want to see what the impact is, their funding is for it, right? So to run a project successfully means that we keep the business informed throughout, understanding how the project is building, the solution is working, relative to time and cost, are we going to be able to deliver it on time, especially if there's a time constraint? Are the costs going to work within the budget? But primarily, is the solution going to be what they want and deliver the beneficial change that they anticipate that this whole project is being run for? And on top of that, of course, they'll be linked to, is it still worthwhile running it? Is it still worth the investment? And the business are there to make that decision. The PMs, project or program managers, even portfolio for that matter, but certainly at project and program level, are there to provide the information for the business to make that decision. And this is what sets projects out, really, is putting the governance in place. Not just delivering products, but putting the governance in place to monitor it through. So a successful project delivers the beneficial change that the business expected, and with a good return on their investment, it was worthwhile spending the money. And to allow them to ensure that happens, that we have it running successfully by providing them the information so they can then make an informed decision throughout the project whether that's actually going to work for them or not. And of course, if not, pull the plug. This is not a failed project. A failed project is really one that goes right to the end, spends all this money and the time and resources, and it did not deliver the beneficial change they expected of it. And someone should have made a decision at that point.